Good morning, everybody. In the last video, somebody commented and said, why don't you just back the combine in here and you'll have a lot more room? And I got to thinking about it. They're right. I'm going to do that from now on. In the meantime, I'm going to fire this thing up. So the yield monitor that is in that combine is like the old Pro 600s, and it's a little bit outdated. However, I hear that it's got the capability to yield map. Well, the problem with that is this combine does not have a globe on it. I really didn't want to spend the couple $1,000s that a globe cost, so I got to looking into it, and the globe off of my EasySear system, that is actually a Tremel, I believe. It's an Easy Guide, so I take that back. It is not, but it's an Easy Guide system. Apparently, is compatible with that monitor, so I do have a globe and didn't know it. So I'm in my settings right now, and I did find that I can add a GPS receiver, which I just did. So that's a plus. Supposedly, somewhere down here in the armrest is where I plug that receiver in, and it's supposed to plug right into this. So we're gonna figure out how to do that. And I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm gonna get out of here and set up some different stuff. And, well, I might. But I'm gonna play with this monitor a little bit, try and figure it out. It's new to me, so I'm gonna try and figure it out a little bit and get that monitor plugged in. So I'm gonna pull up to the shop and try and throw this receiver on real quick. The backup camera is handy. Really gonna like that thing, but pull up to the shop here. That thing's beeping all annoying because it knows I don't have a receiver hooked up right now. So hopefully I have all the right cords and this will just be plug and play. But I doubt it'll work that way. I'd say I'll end up with several $100,000 or several $100 in cords and cables to make it work, but we're gonna see what we can do. This is what I'm working with here. This is my current globe, which hopefully will plug and play right into that combine. You have to bear with me in here. I have yet to clean this cab out, but this is what that monitor run, or that globe runs, is just this little Easy Guide 250, which, come to find out, is Case IH. So that should work. Now, I said that was Tremel. I don't know that it is. It might be made by them. I'm not sure on the specifics of it. But I do know that that came from a Case IH dealership, which I had completely forgot about. I didn't buy it from there. I bought it from a guy that bought it from there. However, this might work. I was worried about not having enough cable, but I think I got plenty of that as long as it plugs in. So we're gonna throw this globe up there and see if we can't find a place to plug this in to integrate it into that monitor. I love tech, but I hate it when it doesn't work. Just for the record, I was right. Tremel does make this. I think they just made it for Case IH. So, I'm gonna get a large cord out of the cab, shut the door. That's just got magnets on it. That's all that holds it. I'm hoping, which there is, that there would be a magnetic plate here. And it sits on there like so. So just like that, I look like a big time operator with my guidance on top of the cab. So I opened this here window, and I'm hooking some cords through here just to get them out of the way. Open the window, hopefully it doesn't pinch it too bad in here, and now I can close that, hopefully, and not tear up anything too bad right there. So we've got our 10 miles of cord in here. Now to figure out where to plug it into, which I have no idea. All right, so as it turns out, That globe will work with that monitor, but I have to run that 250 in the cab as well. I also have to get an adapter. So I think to clean things up, I'm gonna get a different globe and I'm gonna upgrade to a Pro 700 monitor. I'm not thrilled about it, but that will eliminate $1,000 a year for a climate subscription, plus what it cost me to put data on an iPad. So I can run everything through the Pro 700. Now, a Pro 700 is also an ISOBUS monitor, which in simpler terms means that I can also control my Kinsey planner off of it if I decide to do what I want to do to that planner. Now, that said, that also gives me the capability to put an electronic steering wheel in the 7140 and run auto steer to plant with that. So I'm kind of looking to get into the tech side of farming, but this Pro 700 monitor is about $3,500, and if I get the globe, I'm looking at another probably $1,500. So looking at about $5,000 to make this change, but that opens up a lot of possibilities to run a lot of precision. Probably looking at another $5,000 to get the electric steering wheel to run auto steer on the Magnum. So I don't know. I'm trying to run some numbers right now. I do think that having the capability to yield map will save me money, not only in fertilizer, but at being able to look at a field, not as a field average to say it averaged this many bushels an acre, but look at it section by section in fields, where I can really kind of refine what works and what doesn't. I can do some side-by-side trials and see what works and what doesn't. So I think it will give me the knowledge to make better business decisions within the fields. That's kind of where I see the return on investment. Now, as far as the auto steer goes, like I said, it's $5,000 to basically not have to turn the steering wheel. Is it worth it? I don't know. Probably not, but it would be convenient. So I think I'm going to do the Pro 700 and the globe for now, and then kind of see where things are at the end of the year, how the crop does, how the prices end up, and then we may or may not go the auto steer route next spring. But this gives me the capability to do it. So I'm replacing this with the Pro 700 for sure. However, I don't think I'm going to buy the receiver quite yet. So my globe that I have will work, but I still have to run it through this. So I think what I'm going to do is just deal with this for this year, mount it right there, and I probably won't hardly use it at all, but if I'm cutting beans or something, I could still set an AB line with this. So if I were, like, that field over there is a ½ mile long. So I could set an AB line and cut a section off with an AB line and keep my auger out at all times. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It's not auto steer. It won't steer the combine, but it is a guidance. It'll have a little green light to keep me on the row. That way I can cut a section off and still come out perfect where I don't have, you know, a little strip to go back and cut. Took a break from the combine, did a little bit of mowing, but just put this ram mount in here, courtesy of some nice self-tappers. That's kind of my go-to, but I like ram mounts because they're adjustable. But I am going to use this, I guess, for this year, and then if I end up getting an iPad or something and sticking it in here, I can always run it off that same ram mount. I don't love running this monitor in here, but I'm going to have it because it's either run this and use the globe I've got, or spend another $1,500 to get a globe that eliminates this. But really, for 1,500 bucks, I'll put up with this. From my understanding, my globe has to go through this and then into the port down there to talk to the new monitor or this monitor, but I am getting a new monitor, so from my understanding, I have to have this. And and it saves me $1,500 to run that rather than doing away with it completely. So there you can see it's fired up. It's mounted pretty good there. It's not in the way of anything. I mean, everything's still right here, so that should work. Again, I don't love it, but I don't really think it'll obstruct any view over there, so I'll take it. It is what it is. So I'll kind of show how this thing works. Basically, you just set an AB line and it keeps you on row. Now you can see that little light bar there. Those red lights mean I need to turn to the right a little bit. So I'm turning to the right, then there's green in the middle. You just basically try and keep that in the green. And that's how you know you're driving in a completely straight line. Now you can mess with the sensitivity on it. I usually turn it quite a bit down, otherwise you're just fighting the steering wheel trying to stay straight with it. But if you follow those lines halfway, I should be able to cut a pass in the middle of the field and then make 5 or 6 passes, skip another pass, and then when I go through and cut everything, it should come out about right. But it's not getting very good signal right now. That's supposed to be green. You can see it maps out what's behind it, and I'm sitting here playing with the steering wheel, so it's not very straight right now. But yeah, that's basically all that thing's gonna do. But it will communicate from the globe that's on top of the cab to this monitor. That's basically the middleman, so they communicate correctly. These are called ear savers, and all they are is a little bitty piece of rubber that sits like this, and then you'll have another one on this row, and they keep the ears from falling back out of the head after the corn heads brought them in. But the ones that are on it are all but gone, so throwing some new ones on. Now, had I known about them at the time, I would have ordered those through a company called May West. They make some plastic ones that are about 3 times as thick as those rubber ones, and that poly probably won't wear out near like that plastic will, or the rubber, whatever it is. So if I didn't already have those, that's what I'd be putting on it, but oh well. You can see this corn head's pretty oiled up. I did spray it down with used motor oil, and I checked all the chains, made sure they had the right tension on them. So I've already gone through and adjusted all these on all the rows. This one over here, still a little bit loose, but probably gonna let it go for now. But corn head's pretty much ready to go. I just wanted to replace these while I had time to, I guess. I'm gonna take my union break real quick, eat a late lunch, early dinner. It's 4:30 in the afternoon, and I was starting to get hungry for the day. So here's what an old one looks like. There's what a new one looks like. So you can see they're getting pretty wore down. So that's what I'm putting on. Just new pieces of rubber. These came with the combine when I got it. I'm not entirely sure that they're the right ones. They make a cross like that, but they're not in there straight. I mean, you normally see them in there like straight up and down, which I don't think it's gonna hurt anything that they're crossed like that. If anything, it'll hold the ears in decent, but when you look at the old ones and hold them up to it, I mean, you can see they weren't doing much at all. So, I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything that they're like that, but they're all like that, and it just doesn't look quite right. So, I don't know. I'm gonna keep putting them on because they're better than what these are, but it just doesn't look quite right. So, got all the little flap deals on there. Those are definitely not for this corn head, but they'll work. I mean, they're not gonna let an ear of corn through there, surely, so I don't know. I guess that'll work. I don't love them, but it's better than those. Those were totally wore out, so that's done. So one last thing I wanted to do to this thing tonight, I just greased this thing like it was a fifth wheel plate, and there's some poly pads up in here where this field tracker rotates, and it wouldn't do it if you didn't have a head on, but if you had the corn head on, it'd do it a little bit, and if you have the bean head on, it'd really do it because it weighs more. But that thing would just squeal and whine and creak and moan, where it was just, you could hear metal on metal. It just needs shined up. The poly plates that are in it are good. They're not wore out. And this whole drum is brand new. Everything pretty much is brand new. The poly plates are new as well in there, which are just wear plates, but the thing just, I don't know, it's sat. It acts like it's half seized up, so I just greased it. I ran a bead of grease all over it, got it down in those poly pads real good, and then I sprayed it with some chain lube. I don't know if that'll make any difference or not, but it can't hurt. So you can see the head tilting a little bit, and it's not making any noise now, so putting a little bit of grease, a little bit of lube up in there. Seems like it fixed the problem. Like I said, I don't really think there was anything wrong with it. It just didn't sound very healthy, so I wanted to do something about that. But it's not making any noise at all now, so I think that's all it needed. The old combine had a grease fitting in there, and this one does not, which kind of surprises me, but I guess that'll work. So with that, I think I'm gonna head to bed tonight. I still haven't eaten supper, so I'm hungry, and it's like 9 o'clock now, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. This technology stuff is all new to me. I got monitor 1, monitor 2, and 3. Hopefully that Pro 700 will take the place of all 3 of these into one and do everything that all 3 of these do. Granted, that's just a camera, but you can plug those into a Pro 700, so hopefully that Pro 700 takes the place of all this. It'll be a little bit easier to map because it'll be on a thumb drive instead of this old antique floppy disk, and as well as it's got more processing power, it's faster, so it won't map on the go like Climate would. This combine's in 06. And in 07, they changed the sensors to what's compatible with Climate. So this combine actually is not compatible with Climate unless I change out a bunch of sensors, which really isn't worth me doing. I'm still gonna make yield maps the same. I just won't be able to see them as I'm going through the field, but I can see my yield, my field average yield, as well as my instant yield. That's good enough for me. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this tech stuff makes sense, because it doesn't to me. I'm learning as I go. But if you guys enjoy the video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't, drop a comment. Been asked several times if I have Instagram. Yes, I do. My Instagram name I'll drop in the section below, but my name on there is @TheEthanClark with underscores in between all 3 of those. So I'll put my name below, but hope you guys enjoyed the video, and that's all for tonight.